Here we go.
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod, and happy May the 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. We got Blake and Phil joining us in the Escape Pod today to chat about May the 4th. Get into all this Star Wars news. We got a lot of stuff going on today. I don't know how you guys celebrate Star Wars Day, but we're going to go over various things. What is Star Wars Day? How people celebrate Star Wars Day, all that stuff, all the different sales going on, a product reveal, and so much more, along with a monologue all about the mysterious character of Dash Rendar, who a lot of you have probably been wondering about for a very long time, as you've heard it brought up on the show by a particular Phil of ours. Let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
All right. Welcome to the May the 4th special episode, you guys.
Here we are. Day 379. In the escape pod. Josh, I gotta ask you, did you just introduce Phil as a Phil of ours?
He's a Phil of ours.
Not just a friend, he's a Phil.
He's not just a friend, he's a Phil. Everyone needs a Phil.
That's right.
Everyone needs a Phil in their life. So, May the 4th, you guys. It's that day of the year. Everyone gets together and celebrates Star Wars, and thanks George Lucas for giving us this crazy story.
It's true.
Yeah. You know, it's a
If it
special
wasn't for him,
day.
we wouldn't be here
Exactly.
talking about anything.
All right, a lot of people might be wondering out there, what is Star Wars Day? Because this kind of goes back, even you know, I asked myself this the other day. I was like, okay, what really is Star Wars Day, other than the saying, May the 4th be with you? Who started that, and why celebrate Star Wars? You know, like, it's just all these questions. Like, I mean, we're hardcore fans.
And
we love celebrating Star Wars, but why do other people do it?
Eventually, this grew into Star Wars Celebration, which isn't even on May 4th.
I mean, Star Wars has grown into a lot of things, but how on earth did it grow into a holiday? Have you ever just like asked yourself that, you know? It's a crazy question,
Walmart.
right?
It's all Walmart.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Maybe. That's Force Friday, the other Star Wars celebration holiday.
Right.
Star Wars has two. How many does Star Trek have? As far as I know, none.
Well, let's take a look at some of this information that I've found through various articles from StarWars.com. More recently, they've been very helpful at putting out some of this information, so a lot of this, you know, is fact. So May the 4th, the date originated from the pun, May the 4th be with you, a variant on the popular catchphrase, May the Force be with you. And to anyone out there who's listening who happens to not have seen Star Wars, don't really know how you came across our podcast, but in Star Wars, that's just a saying, you know, the Jedis and the Rebels and stuff. It's just a thing that people say, May the Force be with you. And so a handy little pun, a little rhyme there. But the earliest use of the phrase was in 1978, 1 year after the release of Star Wars A New Hope. And
That's so soon.
it is.
That's definitely.
It is much
Sounds
earlier.
like such a 90s thing.
It's much earlier than I thought it was as well. By then, Star Wars was firmly established within American pop culture and became like a handshake between people. As Professor Leo Braudy would later comment in the documentary Empire of Dreams, in 1978, clever newspaper writers would use the catchphrase as a gimmick to mark Independence Day celebrations on the 4th of July. May the Force be with you, as heard in A New Hope, had been appearing on licensed and unlicensed buttons, posters and various items for months. And it would be enough to convince those writers that the joke would be well received by their readers. I would probably agree with that. I mean, you know, Star Wars became very popular among people very, very quickly. So naturally, people caught on to that, right?
That's crazy that it's been that long. Because honestly, for like my entire youth, I never took part of any online discussion of Star Wars. I didn't even know about the Han Solo stuff first until I watched the Blu-ray for the first time. Because I'd worn out like my original VHSs to bits, and and I was like, what is going on here? What is this stuff on my screen? And then finally, that's kind of like when I started kind of seeing Star Wars stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, when I was like, I don't know, 15, I thought I was the coolest kid because I was watching Star Wars, and no one likes Star Wars.
Oh, how the times have changed.
I wasn't on the internet that much,
Right.
So, but then recently I was like, May the 4th, that is so funny. And then you're saying it that it basically started like the year after makes me realize like how much in a shell I was for like my whole life.
Well, you're here now, Phil. You get to celebrate with us.
That's right. You get to celebrate with us. So the story continues, and on May 4th, 1979, Britain's new Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, happened to assume office that very day. Another clever newspaper writer for the London Evening News declared a full-page ad, "May the 4th be with you, Maggie. Congratulations." This happened to be a while Empire was actually filming in country. So Star Wars, you know, very popular over there in the UK, and you know, having been filmed quite a lot over there in Pinewood Studios, you know, they lots of fans over there, right? And this is now during the production of Empire. This is being used as a saying, "May the 4th be with you." So to many people, that might have been their first exposure to the saying as well. Randy Thom, I guess if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who today is the director of sound design at Skywalker Sound, has been with the company for over 40 years, worked as a location sound recordist on Revenge of the Jedi, which now Return of the Jedi is what it's called. Its title, of course, later changed. Randy joined the production unit in Northern California as they shot in the Redwood Forest, doubling for the moon of Endor. May 4th, 1982 happened to be a working day, and Thom recalled thinking of the pun on his own while contemplating the date. He shared it with others on set, and it would later continue to write. He would later continue to write an annual message to the company declaring, "May the 4th be with you," for years to come. So they're another situation in the 80s during Return of the Jedi.
Internal employee trying to take credit.
Yeah, there it is again. In 2005, it was used once again in context with the American 4th of July holiday. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith had been released weeks earlier, and a marketing push to bring audiences back to the theaters inspired a unique newspaper and ad sporting Yoda on the front, a background of red and white and blue fireworks, and a, quote, "May the 4th be with you." The ad was later made into a poster and sold at StarWars.com.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Finally, in 2011, Lucasfilm began to take more of an active role in the unofficial holiday, helping sponsor and promote events and sharing resources for free use. We started to see May the 4th be with you on local television news, grocery stores, coffee houses, bookstores, sporting events. Most people...
Walmart sales.
Anyone who's gone to see perhaps a football game or... MLB, gone down to maybe Seattle, watch a Mariners game, whatever. They have Star Wars nights down there. May the 4th happens to be a celebrated evening for a lot of them. And they get people showing up in the costumes and everything like that. Have you guys gone on one of those Star Wars nights in a sporting event?
I have, actually. Yeah. I saw a hockey game, and I think a baseball game as well, actually. Because basically, they just have... like the 501st come out.
Right. In 2019, The Hollywood Reporter reported the headline, "California makes it official, votes to declare May 4th Star Wars Day." And thus, merchandise sales, collabs, as well as exclusives are sold today through May 4th. So we're going to run as much as we found out about this. But, I mean, out of all of that stuff, we basically have history of May the 4th being unofficially celebrated since 1978. And today it's now relatively in a pretty solid kind of holiday genre, you know, like both officially and unofficially, because Lucasfilm now endorses the event. So isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, like how many other fictional story franchises do you know out there that have a holiday like that? I mean, I know there's a Harry Potter Day and whatever else, but like, who knows about that, right? Like,
see that.
It's not like it's widely celebrated globally. And you know, Star Wars Day comes along, it's like people just know about it, you know?
It hasn't transcended like the mainstream pop culture.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, like the Harry Potter stuff and all that kind of stuff. Star Wars, though, like
I think it's the pun. Like the pun is so clever and so strong that you just hear about it, right? Like I
can't resist it.
That's the thing. Like if there's a Harry Potter one, I have no idea what it would be. I think that would help because I'm not surprised Harry Potter has its own day, or the fans have made it a theme day. But I've never heard of it.
Right.
And I consider myself a fan, so.
Yeah, let me see. Harry Potter Day is it Harry Potter's birthday or the year or the day that the
book that would make
was?
Sense.
It's Monday, May 2nd. Oh, so it was yesterday. Happy belated Harry Potter Day, everyone.
Speaking of not
we already told the fans it's the 4th.
Speaking of not
it was 2 days ago.
Oh, look at this. Reed has entered the escape pod. Welcome to the show, Reed.
Reed.
Happy Star Wars Day.
Happy Star Wars Day.
We're getting into the history of May the 4th and how the saying has gone back to since 1978?
78.
Yeah, a year after Star Wars came out. Yeah.
Wow, that far
right?
back.
It's pretty nuts.
Funny. Yeah. I mean, like, I knew the movie did, pretty well when it first came out, but I didn't really realize, it did that well that everyone's like, hey, let's make this day.
It was a slow start, though. Like, I think it was mostly puns in newspapers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as Josh was saying, it wasn't officially Lucasfilm oriented as an actual day until, what would you say, like 98 or something? Or 2000...
2011. Yeah, 2011 it was officially endorsed by Lucasfilm, and then 2019 it was made like a holiday or like a calendar event by the state of California. So
oh wow.
Yeah. But I mean, kind of like to go back to what Phil was saying, Star Wars Day has really transcended a lot of stuff. In fact, now it's really Star Wars month. I mean, like the month of May has widely been known as just the month that most Star Wars has come out, like in the theater.
Yeah, but that's just due to how George had originally released all the original films.
Right, exactly. And let me run you through the Star Wars calendar month of May. Okay, so May 1st is 501st Day. 501st Day, I don't exactly, I'm not part of the 501st, but the 501st is a big, official / unofficial costuming group. And I believe it says here that May 1st is just a day that they celebrate as May the 1st.
Yeah, it's because it's 5th month first day, 501.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Thank you. Didn't even catch on to that.
Wow, yeah, I didn't either. Wow, that's
another
clever.
quote unquote pun nearly.
Yeah, exactly.
A little more subtle, but yeah.
And then we have May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day. We have, for the last couple of years, it's come to my attention that people celebrate Revenge of the 5th, which is...
I've heard of that.
Which is May 5th. May 14th.
505. Nice.
May 14th is George Lucas's birthday. May 16th is the Attack of the Clones anniversary. May 19th is the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith anniversary. May 21st is the Empire Strikes Back anniversary. May 25th is A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and Solo anniversary. And on May 27th, we will have the long-awaited release of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney+. So Star Wars month, there you have it.
Wow.
So does that mean from now on we need to watch those films and shows on those specific days?
I guess, I don't know. I mean, if you want to split it up and make a Star Wars month out of it instead of a day, I mean, I've
watching them out of order.
Yeah. So I get the question sometimes, like, what do you do to celebrate Star Wars Day? And the question is, well, I work. And then when I'm off work, I just live that day as if it was any other. I mean, I actually don't. I'm ashamed to say I don't actually do anything because every day is Star Wars Day. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan to the like down to the
people here that like doesn't do anything. I would have expected more of you, Josh. I expected more, dude.
Yeah, I know.
At least watch a movie. Like, it's not that hard.
I think what it is every day for a Star Wars fan. Like some of us out there, it's just every day is Star Wars Day, right? So like May the 4th rolls around and it's great to have all these product releases and announcements and sales and stuff online. So it's just kind of like this wider celebrated thing, which makes the day more special. But me personally, it's just, I'm so saturated with Star Wars stuff all around me all the time. And, you know, it's always on my mind to talk about it every week, you know, on the show and with other people and whatever. And it's just like May the 4th rolls around. It's nothing overly special to someone who's always in that moment, you know? And I don't know about you guys, but like maybe you can go around and tell me what you guys do for Star Wars Day. Let's Reed, you do anything for Star Wars Day?
Nope, absolutely nothing. Pretty much.
Oh no.
Yeah. Typically I work. I mean, like some years when I actually realize that it is Star Wars Day, I'll be like, oh man, like, you know, maybe I'll do a marathon of the movies or something like that. That's pretty much like my, that's about as far as I go, is a marathon of the Star Wars movies.
Let's not forget, we all joined the Star Wars Escape Pod podcast.
True enough.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, as of right now, we're recording this a day before Star Wars Day, but, you know, the release is all that matters. So to those of you listening, maybe the way that our listeners celebrate Star Wars Day is by listening to this show, which in that case, huge honor.
Or maybe I need to buy some Star Wars Escape Pod merch. That's a pretty. I know I saw Josh in that hat yesterday, and now I see you in that hat too. Where's mine, dude?
What a plug! This is a good plug.
I gotta start making these more widely accessible. Yeah. Maybe you'll end up with one at some point.
Store or whatever.
Yeah. Phil, yeah, what do you got up to on Star Wars Day?
I am very similar to Reed, except pretty much I usually forget about it, and then when I'm like, oh, it's May the 4th because everyone like is talking about it. I'm like, you know what? It's time for some pod racing. So
nice.
Usually I'll watch episode 1, and then straight to episode 4, and then I'll watch 5 and 6 if I can.
Amazing.
If time permits. But
sorry, so you skip episode 2 and 3?
I definitely skip 2. Absolutely skip 2. the day is too short.
But how else are you gonna know that sand is coarse and hard and it gets everywhere?
Feels like there's only 24 hours in the day. I'm not gonna spend 2.5 of it celebrating Attack of the Clones.
At least just skip to the end and watch Geonosis.
There's
watch the actual like cool part of the movie.
What's the there is a watch order. I remember my cousin was telling me
Machete.
Machete
order you're referring to, I assume.
Is it like you start with 4 or 5 and then you go to the prequels?
Yeah, it's 4 or 5, then you go to Attack of the Clones, then Revenge of the Sith, and you don't watch Phantom Menace at all because I guess that's negligible. And then you go to Return of the Jedi. Yeah, and the idea is watching it in that order best shows Luke, right? Luke growing up, the introduction to the galaxy because it's done so well in A New Hope. And then you get the reveal that Darth Vader is Luke's father. And then you get the backstory of Darth Vader, and then you get the conclusion of both.
Yeah. Oh. But I've watched it like that before, and I really enjoyed it. But, you know, I've watched
If you want to go one step further, there's a fan edit. I think there's a couple, and I can't. One's called The Dark Mantle, I think. And what it does, it takes all 3 prequel movies and it like edits them and like makes one story.
Oh, just like a supercut.
Yeah,
I've watched
cool.
something like that before. Yeah, someone gave me like a copy of it or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Dark Mantle or another one of the other ones I watched, but the best one I saw used the Japanese version, and then they redid the lines with subtitles.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
But yeah, so I skip to because I've watched it so many times, and it's my least favorite of all of them.
Phil, will you be celebrating Attack of the Clones on May 16th when it hits its 20-year anniversary?
No.
Well, here I thought you were just saving it. That's why you skipped it.
No, I just listen. Like if it was like still relatively fresh, I'd probably give it a go. But I have to understand. Like I used to make it a point to watch the whole the whole canon.
Yeah,
every month.
Dang, that's a lot, man.
But I used to love it. I used to pop the VHS and like. Once in a while you're not really like paying attention that much. Yeah. It's just like a background thing.
Right.
But then
I got in the habit of doing that. Trying to stop.
Recently events have transpired where I've kind of gotten a little bit out of it, but I'm looking for an excuse to jump back in.
You got a kid now. You got to show the kid the ropes.
She loves episode 1 from what I watched it. When the pod racing was on, glued to the screen. Loves the aliens.
It's got good energy in that sequence. You use the word fresh to describe Star Wars movie. What do you consider a fresh Star Wars movie?
In what just something that I haven't like watched to death and that I actually enjoy. So I've watched episode 2 so much, but it's not really like the most enjoyable movie. But it's just because I'm hooked. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta watch the whole thing from A to Z.
Right.
So I start with episode 1, and I thoroughly enjoy it because pod racing, obviously. And then I get to episode 2, and I'm like, this is gonna be a struggle. But I'm basically counting down the hours until I get to pop in episode 3 and 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I hear you. You feel like you got to eat your vegetables before you get the steak.
That's right. That's the best analogy I've ever heard in my life.
I'm here for you, man. I got your back.
For anything. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents.
Excellent.
For episode 2.
Reed, what's your opinion on episode 2? I mean, we're hitting the 20-year anniversary. Have you seen that movie a lot?
I've seen it a good amount. I think the movies that I kind of grew up with were Phantom Menace and then the original trilogy. Like that was just kind of what was out already when I was a kid. Like the other movies came out later in theater and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I know for sure my family had Phantom Menace on VHS, and then I think the original trilogy. So that was
so the Phil order.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was just what I watched. Like I mean, I didn't care. I was a kid. Yeah.
It's funny I think it was the same for me. It must have been just like an age thing because watched the original trilogy a whole bunch because I was introduced to it because Star Wars is coming out, right? The new trilogy. Yeah. So my parents got me to watch that. So I was hooked on that. Then I loved the Phantom Menace. And then I remember watching that over and over again until Attack of the Clones came out. And then I don't remember watching Attack of the Clones that much, and Revenge of the Sith came out, and it's all I watched for another 6 months.
Yeah,
I don't know what the deal is with that.
Revenge of the Sith was pretty awesome. Like I liked Attack of the Clones because when I saw it, like how old were we when that movie came out?
We're about 12. Yeah, between the ages of 7 and 12, sort of thing.
Yeah. So like again, like I didn't really care. Like I watched that movie. I was like, oh, cool, like clone troopers and blasters. Like I thought it was awesome. Pretty much like I could have just watched like the whole Geonosis battle scene on repeat, basically, or like the Camino stuff. Like that. Yeah, that movie was actually pretty okay for like continued action, I guess, because it had Jango Fett and that kind of thing. But
yeah,
actually, what's dawning on me now is though I didn't watch the film as much as the other ones, I loved all the Lego sets that came out of that movie.
Absolutely.
You got Django Slave 1, and then all the clone tanks and stuff. Man, like Some of the sets that came out then were
so
super cool.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I think the most amount of action figures I had before I ended up trading them all away and getting Lego instead was I had a plethora of Attack of the Clones little 3 3/4 inch action figures. That was just like, I guess, the thing that was widely available when I started getting into that kind of stuff. So,
Is that when those Lego sets for the blasters still did the what was it, like the speaker thing or
the
whatever,
megaphone,
and they
the
just
megaphone
like turned
with
it
the little-
around and put the little put the little bulb thing on the end of
Yeah,
it.
you put the stud in the open end.
Yeah, the stud. Because that was the blast.
It's the classic Lego blaster.
Yeah,
Classic
until they
Lego.
actually were like, oh hey, why don't we actually like make something?
What's
Yeah.
funny is I
a
still
blaster.
like those old ones compared to the ones they have now, where they shoot the stud. They look like
They have stuff that shoots
flashlights.
the stud now.
Yep. So you can lose all the studs.
It's funny because actually I was playing Lego with the kid the other day, and I broke out my boxes from when I was a kid. In my hand, I currently hold my Jar Jar Binks Lego.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. I've got that one. I've got that one. He's got the gray kind of vest on, right?
Yeah, beige or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I had my camera. I wish I had my webcam so I could show you guys. But like, he's just hanging. He's been hanging out on my desk doing like flips and stuff all week.
He comes with the set that had the two EOPs that,
Yep.
and then the other Gungan in the green outfit with the purple shield. He comes in that one, right? Or did you have a different set?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, the two droid scooters, right?
I think or maybe you got him in a different set. I think he also came in
He was also in.
the
Yeah.
underwater ship.
Yep. Exactly.
I think. Yeah, I don't remember having anything elaborate like that.
Bongo.
The bongo.
I remember having the two
So
droid.
taking a bongo.
the two droid. It was like a droid set. It was like two droids on the scooters. I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
The staps.
Staps.
The stap, are they those flying little scooter things?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones that go like when they land and stuff. Yes, that's absolutely.
It's from the opening Naboo fight. Yeah, where
That's right.
right after Qui-Gon saves Jar Jar, then he saves him the second time from the droids on those
Yeah.
flying kind of speeders.
I had that, and I had Anakin's pod racer.
Oh man,
Maybe it could have been Anakin's pod racer.
A year or two ago, I forget when it was. I bought the new re-release of the Lego Anakin Pod Racer, and
I have that too. I wonder where that went. I should put that on my desk.
yeah,
I think
it's
so
such
cool.
a cool ship, man. I one of the best. I saw it and I was like, oh, this is getting a re-release? No way! And I think it was celebrating either 20 years of the Phantom Menace or 20 years of Star Wars Lego. It was probably it might have been both actually.
I was Phantom Menace
Because I think
it would've been
Lego Star Wars, I
2019,
think,
right?
yeah, that's true. I think Lego Star Wars started coming out in like maybe 97 or 98 or something for the special editions. And then Phantom Menace Lego came out shortly after. So yeah, I think it might have been celebrating 20 years of Phantom Menace or something. But I know there was a bunch of sets that they re-released.
I wonder what the Pod Racer is worth right now on eBay.
If it's still in box, I don't know, because I haven't seen it for a little while. So
Yeah, it's discontinued for sure.
yeah.
What's the name of Darth Maul's ship?
It's Sith Infiltrator. Did you have that one?
That was the Lego set that I had as a kid.
Oh man, that's
And
a
I played with that. I played with that until I broke it, basically.
Yeah,
and
I think
then
it's super cool.
never put it back together. But yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, man, that'd be so cool to like. I'm kind of curious how much the Lego set would be worth now, because if I had been smart and held on to it, but I wasn't. I pretty much was like, cool.
I've always been really jealous of anyone out there who's got the original Naboo N1 Starfighter with the chrome bits on it, like the UCS version with the chrome bits.
Yeah, the UCS.
Yeah, the chrome bits on it that they don't make anymore. Oh man,
That must have been an online exclusive because I never saw that in stores. Or maybe Toys R Us.
I think it was in store. It's just like at the time where not many people bought it, and it's so old now that almost any set from that age is valuable. But the parts that have the chrome on it, they just don't. Even the lightsabers now, they don't make the lightsabers with the chrome paint because it chips.
It's because it flakes off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. But Hey, so going back to Star Wars Day related stuff here. Some people, I know we went around and said how we don't celebrate Star Wars Day, but
Hey! I celebrated by playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D today. Thank
There
you.
you go. Okay.
Oh, no way! I have that
For the
downloaded
first time.
right now. I haven't played it.
Yeah, it's my first time playing it. Yeah. It's like, well, in quotations, I've never beaten it, but I played it at a friend's house.
Okay.
Off and on when I was really young, but we could never get past. I guess it's the third level when you have to go around the AT-ATs.
I couldn't do this one. I couldn't do either. So
that's why I got stuck today too. It's so hard.
So to make it worse, I had that game on the Nintendo 64, dude.
Yeah, so we played it on.
To fly it around the AT-AT, you have to use those like yellow like arrow buttons or whatever crap, and I'm just like, what the fudge is this? And you have to go around like 50 times. I'm like, this took like 2 minutes in the movie. It's like, what is this? What is this game?
Sounds like you guys are just terrible gamers. I've never had any issues.
Listen, you do not understand until you have played that game how brutal it is.
Played that game to nausea. The N64 is my favorite console.
Oh, okay.
And
this guy's just like a savant over here with
he's an elite gamer.
Elite gamer when it comes to 3 games: Rogue Squadron, Shadows of the Empire, and F-Zero. F-Zero's good.
Shadows of the Empire is actually very difficult as well. I got stuck on that game.
It is not aged well.
There was another one that was like, it's like the same thing as Rogue Squadron, but it was like on Naboo or something like that, and it was like, I can't remember.
I think it was just Naboo Fighters or something. Let me check.
Something like that. But that one I actually beat, I think.
All of these are on sale on Steam right now for anyone who wants to check this out.
Battle for Naboo.
I do not get paid for saying that, but that is why I bought this game. Because it was
you know what? No, I never beat it because I could never beat the last mission because you're in a Naboo starfighter and you're like single-handedly attacking the battle station or whatever.
Hey, Anakin could do it. He was 9 years old.
Well, it's actually cool. You see Anakin fly into the hangar and ditch you and the rest of the starfighters in one of the cutscenes or whatever. You gotta like blow up some of the tractor beams or something like that, and then he goes into one of the hangars, and it's like, oh, we gotta buy him some time.
And then he shows up at the end and takes all the credit.
Well, I never got that far because I always die.
That's how it works in the movie, anyway.
Yeah, basically, I was one of the expendable like extras or whatever in the pilots.
So for celebrating Star Wars Day, there's an article that StarWars.com just kind of put out recently, suggesting ways that might help people like us that may or may not celebrate Star Wars Day just because we're always saturated or whatever. Number 1, organize a watch party with some friends near and far, far away, thanks to Disney Plus, thanks to the group watch feature.
I always wondered why we never did that.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried using group watch before, and it's been a little jank. Like sometimes people get the skipping issue. So I can see why people might not use it.
But even just all of us watching it together, we're all pretty big fans.
Right.
We watched Mandalorian on it, didn't we?
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when we were doing the after show. Review. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know, I'm still a fan of all 3, 2, 1, and then you all hit play at the same time.
Until one of them has to buffer, then it becomes an.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Pause it! All right, it's going.
Number 2, make themed snacks and crafts for the occasion. Have you guys made Star Wars food before?
No, never in my life. But you know what? Now that you said it out
food.
loud, I kind of want to.
We should all go pause and make blue milk.
Make some Bantha burgers.
It's just Powerade with milk, guys.
Or Jabba Catto
Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid.
Oh gosh, sugar particles in there.
How about some Lula donuts or Jabba Catto toast?
I'm currently looking at the fandom website to look at Star Wars.
I gotta be honest. I don't think any time I've ever watched Star Wars have I like looked at the food and been like, "That's appetizing to me," because it's always like they always show something like in the movies. It's always something really gross, like when Jabba the Hutt's like slurping down his little squirmy worm thing or whatever, or someone else is like
moving tentacles in the soup.
Yeah, the only like semi-edible food that you see is when like Anakin's flirting with Padme, but then that just doesn't really make me want to eat food anyways.
That's just the one fruit.
The one little fruit,
pear or whatever
is big. Yeah, like a pear. I'm just like, okay.
Number 3, we got Star Wars is for everyone, including Star Wars Kids, which is a YouTube subdivision of the Star Wars channel. So if you go to YouTube Kids or even just on YouTube, type up Star Wars Kids, I believe, there's a whole Star Wars based YouTube channel for younger viewers. And there's you can catch the latest 2 shorts, which is Galactic Pals micro series. And in addition to bite-sized animation, you'll find tutorials on crafting, drawing, and more. So anyone with young kids in the house might actually get some good use out of that. Number 4, expand your understanding with a galaxy of the galaxy with a Star Wars book or comic. So with Phase 1 of the High Republic recently having come to a planet-shattering cliffhanger, there's a ton more stories out there, including Wave 2 of the High Republic, or Phase 2, I guess. And the Marvel's Obi-Wan Kenobi series actually debuts next week, which should kind of launch us into that character's story with the Disney Plus show. There's a variety of other books and comics that have recently come out and more that are coming out this month, which we can kind of get into in a little bit. Number 5, make it a Star Wars day at the ballpark. So lots of sporting events going on, including the Philadelphia Phillies, Los Angeles Dodgers, New York Mets, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. If you catch a game around the time of May 4th, you'll likely be at a Star Wars sporting night, which is pretty sweet.
That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's some
ideas. We need something here on the West Coast.
That's right. So I mean, some ideas for anyone who doesn't know how to celebrate Star Wars Day. Also look for local events being hosted by your local space center, your local movie theater. Sometimes maybe if it's more independent movie theater, they might actually play a Star Wars film. Comic book stores, potential organized Star Wars game nights as well. Like if you have an army with Star Wars Legion, Armada, or X-Wing, there might be an organized play thing going on, as well as more shops out there. All right, so we're just going to talk really briefly about this really cool new product reveal, which is just, it's a thing today from Orbitkey, and they're introducing a new Star Wars lineup to their collection. Orbitkey primarily makes a lot of keychains and things to keep your desk organized and key Bluetooth trackers and all this crazy stuff. They're coming out with 4 limited edition Star Wars key organizers, one for Boba Fett, the Mandalorian, Grogu, and Emperor Palpatine, and they look pretty neat. I mean, there's some nice color on some of these guys. They're made of various materials, leather, fabric, all this and that. They got a little doohickey for attaching it to maybe like a key ring or something like that. But yeah, they're making the jump to hyperspace with 4 limited edition key organizers from a galaxy far, far away. And they will be shipping the pre-orders May 25th, and they're priced at either $44.90 US or $69.90 Canadian. And for those friends of ours in Australia, it is going to be $54.90. So variety of prices there, and you can order those as of today on May 4th. Limited edition, so go and check those out.
I have these like giant, like especially for work, I have these like ginormous like keychains, and like here I'm gonna show it to you guys. It's like on a cable or whatever. Here, I don't know if you can see this, but I have like tons of keys on like a cable, and it like extends out and stuff like that. But it's just like a mess, and it's like jangling around and slapping like my thigh or whatever all day long.
Yeah, every security guard in the world has one of those.
Literally, yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, that'd be a way more like efficient way.
Yeah, because it looks like that keychain you have, you could basically climb the outer walls of the Naboo Palace.
Oh, dude, for real. Like, I throw that thing up there and it would latch onto the parapet.
Yeah, you got your own grappling hook with all those keys on
That's
it.
right.
Basically.
So this looks like it keeps it all nice and organized. Looks like it's got well, I mean, anyone out there listening to this episode right now can look it up, but the Grogu one has got like a tan color with a green inside. The Mandalorian one's kind of like a dark gray, and Palpatine is like a black with a kind of like a, I don't know if that's just a lighting or what, but maybe there's like
I think it's just black and purple.
Yeah, purple
And
inside.
then the Mandalorian
He asked me-
one looked like it had chrome on it or something.
I feel like that. I think that must have been a Mace Windu keychain, and then they decided to rebrand it at the last minute.
There you go.
Hey, his lightning
There
is
it
kind
is.
of purpley.
Hello, what have we here?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you know what? This would be great for like my I have so many locks for my different guns. I'm gonna have
Blasters.
a different one for
Blasters.
like
We're in the Star Wars galaxy.
yeah, excuse me. My I got a lot of blasters in the armory back there, so I need to organize the locks and keys for them.
I like this thing.
It'd be handy for that, though. If you're like out in the backcountry, you don't have your keys all jangling and scaring off any banthas.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely would. I have way too many keys. I have like 3 different keychains and try to pick whichever one is the smallest that I can afford to take with me that day, the least amount of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of the keys are larger, like vehicle keys. They always have the thick end to them, right? So I'm not sure if that's supported on this or not. It looks, at least the images, they only have the traditional kind of house key cut.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it kind of looks like as you take it apart, so there's a special mechanism to take it apart, and then you kind of clasp it together through the hole on your key, which you would normally put a key ring through. And it looks like it locks in a secure way so that your keys are kept kind of tight, so you have to fold them out rather than have them loose. And when you fold them into this thing, it looks like that leather strap is kind of like a key guard almost.
Like a sleeve, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a sleeve. So it's a really like interesting design. I like the fact that there's some Star Wars style prints out there. I don't think what's kind of nice about it as well, if someone likes Star Wars stuff but doesn't like having that classic kind of cheesy, chintzy Star Wars like merchandising vibe about it, where it literally says
Nothing too flashy.
Yeah, it's nothing too flashy, right? Yeah, it's like got this really kind of subtle tone to it, and like it's Star Wars, and if you look on the inside, it's engraved there, but it's not like anyone else is going to know that, right? So,
I was wondering if we were to suggest characters for next year, what would you guys suggest?
Darth Vader, obviously.
Nice.
That's a
all
good one.
black. It has a cape on it.
You guys ever heard
some
of
red.
this character? His name is Dash Rendar. He'd be great.
There it is.
Maybe like a silver and brown. That'd be a good way to go.
Yo, you know what one they need to do? They need to do the young Anakin pod racer one.
Oh, there we
Do
go.
like a silver, blue, or chrome and blue one or something.
Silver, blue with a
bit of yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
then
winner.
a Naboo Starfighter.
Yeah, I was
one
just gonna
is
say an
chrome
N1
yellow.
Starfighter.
Yeah,
That's
That'd
a
actually be
winner.
kind of cool.
That would be really cool. I'd buy that one for my single
that'd be
key.
pretty legit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea though. I mean, I could go for that one. For
And where's the
thinking of-
R2D2 one, man? It's like
I
a classic
know.
Star Wars merch.
Yeah, like the R2D2
dude, yeah.
one, or where's the 3PO? Where's the gold? Maybe even make his. You know how he's got that famous kind of charging port on his belly button, maybe warp that into the design somehow and use that locking mechanism as that part of him or something. Like, I don't know, might be kind of cool.
Dude,
That'd be
we're,
pretty
like,
cool because they
giving
would actually
guys-
work for him, right? For
Yeah.
the
We
We should
character.
lease these ideas to Orbitkey.
Yeah, I know, right?
Orbit
Orbitkey, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we got some great ideas for you.
Orbitkey, if you're listening, sends him out to Star Wars Escape Pod, we'll do a product review.
So much use out of those so fast, no joke.
We got enough guys here that'll use them daily, so let's get in touch.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's our early information. So thanks, Orbitkey, for giving us the early scoop. I don't know how many people actually got the early scoop, but there you have it.
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Commander. I'm here to put you back on schedule.
Have you guys been watching the? You might think like, what does this got to do with Star Wars? Have you been watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial at any point this past week?
Yes.
What's that have to do with Star Wars?
I knew you were gonna bring that up. Okay, so I've got.
I've mostly seen the memes that have come out of it, but yes.
Richard Edward Marks. Okay, he's a UCLA grad, School of Law from 1973, and he's been a 50-year officer of the courts, and he's basically a deal guy. He's a guy who basically works as a lawyer primarily for producers in the film industry, for actors and stuff. His primary goal is to get deals made. Okay, and as he was speaking on behalf of Johnny Depp, he shared some enlightening. When you're in a court as a witness, they tend to ask you a lot of questions about your past, just so that the jury kind of knows who this person is and like what their expertise on the matter or whatever. And he said something very interesting, which I'm just gonna play for you right here. So let's take a listen.
So a couple years, and I made deals.
What kind of projects did you work on when you transitioned into that deal-making role?
Well, this is, mid-1970s, and this law firm was hot, if you will. And some of my classmates were there. That's how I got the job. I had to take a cut in pay to go there. I'll never forget, I'm the second chair attorney in a big conference room at Fox, and we're trying to close a deal for our young client, George Lucas, to make a film called Star Wars, a Western space movie. And Fox would not give us the budget or the salary he wanted. And this is the God's honest truth. We said, okay, give us the merchandising. And famously, they gave us the merchandising because they didn't think there was value there. And that's how much our business has changed. While I was at my first transactional firm, we also worked for a client. His name is Sylvester Stallone. His claim to fame is that he was a character actor, but he had written a script that all the major stars wanted to play. They wanted to play the role Rocky. And he said, I will not sell this script unless I play Rocky. And no one was happy about that. And the deal we made was he got to play the role, but it was a very low budget, and he hardly had a dressing room. He hardly had any perks. He wasn't happy about it, but we were able to make up for that in the deals for Rocky 2, 3. And that's the type of deals. It was, at that entertainment transactional firm, we weren't representing major companies, if you will. We were representing artists, writers, directors, talent, like individuals. We weren't representing the companies I do now, like ITV or Village Roadshow.
There you have it. So one of the guys that kind of made Star Wars happen was sitting in the courtroom this past week at the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and I thought that was a little interesting audio bite there, because it's because of the merchandising. So because of the merchandising that we have Star Wars the way it is,
It's true. I find it really funny though. There's this massive court case going on, and this guy's asked to talk about himself for 3 minutes, and he just it gloats about how he was like the guy who like got the deal for George Lucas. Like,
Dude, yeah, I mean, dude, hey, you know what? This guy's smart, man. He knows this is like one of the most public trials in history.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I got a platform to sell myself right now on.
So
that's exactly what happened.
Taking advantage of, he's like, I closed this deal and that deal, and yeah.
That was just a
here's my number. Give me a call.
I got some cards with me. I'll be waiting on the door on the way out.
That was just a little kind of out of context clip, but like there was a lot more to it. But I just thought, I was listening to this thing and he brought up, he's like, oh yeah, and brought up for a little client, a little guy named George Lucas, and then all of a sudden I perked up. I was like, wait, what did he just say? And I flipped over to that window on my computer and I was like, dang, he's talking about Star Wars. Like, how cool is this? And he's the guy. Because we've been told as Star Wars fans, anyone who's kind of listened to George talk in interviews and stuff like that, he always goes on about how Empire Strikes Back would have never happened if he hadn't secured the merchandising rights, because that's how he kind of paid for the movie and how he kind of got the ball rolling, right? Because otherwise Fox wouldn't give him the money. Like, they were really adamant about not believing in this series. And, it's tough to say what would have happened with the sequel, because they still would have controlled a lot more than he would have hoped. And as a creator, as the guy who made the movie he wanted to make, he didn't have producers breathing down his neck to give them the product that they wanted. He was able to go out and do what he wanted. And it's because of the merchandising that he was able to do that. And I thought that it was really interesting that the guy who helped him get that deal was talking in the trial this past week. So there you go.
How many hours of trial footage did you have to sort through, Josh?
Oh man, I've been listening to all of it every day. I've been keeping up every day. I listen to all 8 hours of it.
Do you just like have it playing in the background?
Yeah. I just have it playing if I'm not listening to anything else, not watching a movie or show.
I could recommend like 100 podcasts or audiobooks or like literally anything else other than that trial. All I need to know about that trial I've learned from memes. That's as far as I'm willing to dive into it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of people share that opinion. It fascinates me, but I was glad I got that, because that did not end up in a highlight reel, and if I wasn't watching the whole thing, I would have missed that. But
you gotta clip that and put it on the podcast YouTube channel. People can find it.
Dude, it's right here, man. It's exclusive on our podcast. They gotta tune in.
You just gotta listen an hour in.
Exactly. So when we start talking about merchandising here, a lot of people, on top of the question of like, what is Star Wars Day? And like, they might also be asking, why is there so much stuff? Like, why is there so much Star Wars toys and action figures and video games? Like, why is it such a big deal? And that's why. That's why it's a big deal, because it literally helped the franchise grow, and it was the seed that made one movie into multiple.
Well, I got a point real quick here. We should do an episode or wherever we chat where we all try to find the most obscure Star Wars toy, and then we'll compare.
Oh yeah, let's do that at some point. Yeah,
dude.
I already got one. I already got one in mind, but
is it Jar Jar's tongue?
Yep.
Candy. Okay, Vic, that one should be off the list because they all just can pick the same one.
Dude,
it's a faux check action figure.
Oh wow.
With backstory.
That's right.
Oh man.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Speaking of deals, if you are in the market for a deal, specifically video games, between Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, mobile platforms, VR, and PC, you can find all of the crazy deals going on right now on Star Wars Day. Starting tomorrow, these deals will start to disappear. And this goes from DLC all the way to an actual game, from KOTOR Mobile all the way through Xbox, Star Wars Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order. Go onto your digital game marketplace, and you can see all the deals there for yourself. Humble Bundle, GOG, Steam, Origin. That's the place to look on PC. Xbox and PlayStation users know where to go. And if you're on mobile, you can find KOTOR Mobile on the iOS Store and Google Play for 50% off, I believe. Quest users and VR, shout out to you guys, and PlayStation VR. There's going to be Star Wars sales going on today as well, so be sure to check those out. And there's also going to be links in the description of this podcast episode for games and various merchandising sales, all the way from a Star Wars Tamagotchi to various types of jewelry and rings. Check those links out, and you can't go wrong with saving some money on Star Wars merchandise.
Merchandising. Merchandising? What's that? Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Open up this door.
Good old Spaceballs homage to George Lucas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Star Wars games have been a huge thing for a very long time. Phil, what's your favorite Star Wars game?
All right. So, it's actually not Shadows of the Empire, surprisingly.
Really?
That is very surprising. But Dash Rendar is not even in this other game.
I know, which is the most unfortunate thing, which is why I'm trying to bring him back. You know what I mean? But,
all right.
Shadows of the Empire is my second favorite, and just because I've played it recently, and honestly, like, it just doesn't hold up. But there's Rogue Squadron on the GameCube. I believe it's Rogue Squadron 2. It is the most amazing Star Wars game. I love it so much.
Wait, Rogue Squadron 2 is on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Rogue Squadron 3D is on the N64.
Well, it's actually not called Rogue Squadron 3D. It's just
okay.
That's the way Steam is selling it as. I don't know why.
Makes sense. I didn't recognize that part. So
yeah.
I guess that's why.
On the N64, it's just Rogue Squadron, and then the second installment and the third installment is two. I think the third one is called Rebel Strike, maybe, and so there's out of ship segments too, but Rogue Squadron 2 on GameCube is so good. They used to be like this. They used to have an arcade version. So you know that old arcade box for Star Wars that was like made in the 80s or whatever, and it's like all vector art and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, in my local theater, they had replaced the cabinet with I guess a demo version or something. Maybe not a demo version. It was like an actual licensed thing, and it was a whole thing that you would get inside of, and you would feel like you were inside an X-wing or something, and you were playing Rogue Squadron 2, basically like the first level, and oh my god, it was so good.
Oh man,
that's super cool.
Nice.
That's my favorite one for sure. I don't know about you.
Someone should remaster those into VR.
It's funny that you say that. There is some independent artist out there or programmer redoing, I think it's Shadows of the Empire in VR, and they've got a demo on YouTube that they've put out maybe 2 minutes of it or something like that, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's not the most uncommon thing, I guess, older games being kind of republished as VR, because they're not super demanding games for graphics, and when you got the headset on and stuff, you kind of forget about that minute detail in absolutely everything that you're looking at because you're experiencing it, and it kind of takes away from needing that super high resolution textures and all that stuff, right? Because you're
for sure.
Yeah.
If a game is good, it'll hold up on its own. I replay lots of old games, and I still think they're great.
Resident Evil 4 was just republished as a VR exclusive on Quest, and I think people have been enjoying that. It's a classic game. Blake, you got a favorite Star Wars game?
Probably KOTOR, honestly. The original Knights of the Old Republic is just so good.
Solid choice.
Though I will say KOTOR 2 with the cutting room floor. I brought this up before. Last time I played through both, I liked the second one with the cutting room floor mod, which adds all the content that was cut due to a limited time for release. And I actually thought the gameplay was better in the second game, but the story is probably better than the first one.
Interesting. Do you have them both on mobile?
No, I've only ever played them PC and original Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox all the way.
Yeah, man.
You can get them on mobile for 50% off right now.
Add that to the repertoire. I basically just play like Pokemon Red over and over again on my phone.
Reed, you got a favorite Star Wars game?
Yeah, probably the OG Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was the first video game I ever owned on my PlayStation 2. Like I got my PlayStation 2 and then that was the game I got for it for I think it was like Christmas one year or something like that.
Yeah.
And man, played the heck out of that game. Still, I really like I like the new Star Wars Battlefronts. Like the new Star Wars Battlefront 1 was like pretty good, and then the newer one, like I like the story at least. I know the EA kind of fudged up the multiplayer a little bit, but they're still pretty good games. But yeah, the original one, man, so good.
Have you played that recently?
I wonder why that is.
Have you played it recently? The classic Battlefront 2. You played it anytime within the last couple of years?
No, not recently. I mean, I still like. I don't really feel like I need to. I've played that game so much, like I pretty much have it like memorized because the whole like main campaign you're going through as like the 501st Legion or whatever, right up until like I think they kind of do almost an alternate history thing at the end where like you're on the Death Star or whatever. And you kill Luke.
You know, it's I'm just gonna give you a tip. Don't play it. If you enjoy it, if you enjoy it right now as it is, and you haven't played it for years, don't play it again. Let it fester as a good memory. Because let me tell you something. Some of these old games, if you're so like kind of if you're like me and you're like you appreciate an old game to the point where you're like, oh, that was my favorite game, and it's still my favorite game, and I love all these new ones, but that's my favorite game because for me it's Republic Commando. And then I go back and play, and I'm like, dang, the graphics are like, this is old, man. Like this is an old game.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't mind that. So like, there's lots of old games.
To be fair, Josh,
played
Republic
like
Commando when it came out didn't have the best graphics anyway.
We're getting to the heart of the issue right now. What's really bothering Josh?
Yeah, because like when that game came out, my cousin bought it and played it and then offered it for me to borrow it, and I was looking at the box art and the Wookiees looked so bad. I don't remember this, but he was telling me years later that I refused to borrow it because the Wookiees looked too terrible.
Hilarious.
Republic Commando, really?
Yeah, this was back like when it came out.
Yeah, but like Battlefront 2, the original, actually, I feel like obviously it's not sad, like it's not like modern graphics or anything, but I feel like it holds up. I think the art style within the game itself is good, and the controls are still like really, really good, and just the mechanics in general.
Just the game design in general, because like when that game came out, you know, it had a good like campaign story or whatever, but you know, you could play like the whatever different classes of troopers and stuff like that, but then you could also do the heroes as well, which was pretty cool because like, you know, like how many other like games out there were like that, right? Like none. Like it was pretty unique and pretty awesome. And they had like different game modes and stuff like that. Like, you know, they had kind of the like, now if you were playing something like Battlefield, you would be pretty used to like that style of gameplay, but like, you know, they had like the conquest game modes and then like the team deathmatch stuff, and they kind of had a couple fun modes too. Like I think it was like Hunt or something like that. So there was one where like you could on Endor where, you know, you could play the Ewoks, and then you could play the scout troopers, which was like super hard because, you know, you're trying to hunt down all these stupid little Ewoks with spears and rocks and crap like that, and you're stuck with like a sniper rifle in like the forest, which is not ideal. And then there was my favorite one was the Hoth one, where you could play the Wampas. Or is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Wampas.
Yeah, the Wampas, and be the rebels, and as the rebels, you had to protect your the base or whatever from the Wampas. Yeah, it was just good times, man. Good times.
Well, I got an article. I mean, talking about old games here, I got an article which I can read. Just it's a really small one, but I just thought it was the funniest thing because I thought back to this thing exactly of all of us kind of appreciating these old Star Wars games. You know, we're all kind of in a small way stuck in the past in that sense. So here we go. Okay. Kansas City, long-running Super Smash Bros. Melee tournaments across the country are seeing massive dwindling attendance numbers over the last few years. Sources say due to the fact that players have come to the realization that the game is now officially over 18 years old. And then there's a quote. It seemed to us like it was just time to move on to a newer, younger games, remarked recently departed competitive Smash player 3PHB, who asked to be identified by only his gamertag. And he says again, after a certain point, the purity of the gameplay just goes away, you know? I didn't like Brawl at first, but it's actually starting to mature into a really interesting and beautiful scene. I feel like I'm tripping head over heels for it. Other players who had recently voiced their complaints seemed to agree with 3PHB, saying that the game scene had just not been the same recently. And another quote here. It's great to see the community age, but at the same time, it starts to feel stale. A fellow longtime tournament member, Rules 12, said when he asked about the state of the game, he said, I guess I really feel like a sleeker, newer game would hold my interest better. It's always good to get in a game early when the meta is still developing. At press time, many departing Melee players report that they're planning on cozying up to the 2007 game Arcana Hearts while it's still in its prime.
The person who wrote this is clearly going through a divorce.
Dude, like, midlife crisis.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it just sounds like. It just sounds depressing listening to the people talk about.
You know, it's just funny.
Like
you know,
the center of their life.
It's funny because we're going on about these old games, but I feel like in a couple of years we'll be like, you know what? I've got a new favorite Star Wars game. It's called The Force Unleashed 2.
It'll just slowly become later.
I really like that game. That's a good game.
Our favorite game in the past is like, 15 years in the past. And, as time ages, it's just going to move up. And in 30 years, we're all going to be talking about EA's Battlefront 2 game as if it's like the new stuff on the market.
Oh, brother.
I wouldn't be surprised if let's say 10 years from now, if I keep replaying like some of the newer games, like say Jedi Fallen Order, if I decided that one was actually really high in the rankings. Because I like that game a lot, but I think it hasn't had time to really like absorb into like my consciousness to the same level at this point.
I still need to play it again, just because the first experience I had, I really hated it.
Well, good news, Phil. It's on sale.
It's on sale.
It's on sale, man. It's on sale.
Josh, give me the list again.
You want this, don't you?
Do you guys know about the Star Wars soap?
The Star Wars one, right? I think I've seen
Yeah. So Darth Maul's Ruthless Rinse and Darth Vader's Dark Side Scrub, Yoda's Wisdom Wash, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's Only Hope Soap.
Only Hope Soap.
These are so great.
Dude, oh man, I need that now.
10% off, man. 10% off. Valid today only.
Bro.
Okay, guys, Celebration is around the corner, and I saw that George Lucas's son, Jet Lucas, will be at Celebration as a guest. He is most famous for playing the little Jedi that gets shot in front of Bail Organa.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Famous for
playing the little Jedi who gets shot in front of Bail Organa.
Oh, man.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's such a George Lucas thing to do. Be like, hey Dad, can I have a role in your movie? Yeah, sure, Sonny.
Want to play a Jedi?
Yeah, I'd love to. Pew pew pew.
I want more panels from actors who like had no talking screen, but like 5 seconds of screen time. I really want like panels. And like them just dissecting stuff about it.
So what does Star Wars mean to you? Well,
back in 1999.
Oh man, actually, which was obscure characters, but was also super cool. It was one of the panels that we got into was like Wedge and like a whole bunch of like the original X-Wing pilots, which was super cool.
Right, you mentioned.
And I think that the guy who played Wedge had never been to a single celebration before. That was his first one.
Yeah.
oh,
That's
that's cool.
Ewan McGregor's uncle, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, his history was
Small world,
way
right?
back. Yeah. Speaking of which, Ewan McGregor will be there as well. Let's see here. Kelly Marie Tran, who plays Rose Tico will be there. Carl Weathers will be there.
Nice.
Yeah. Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, will be there. Daniel Logan, Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones, will be there. Anthony Daniels as C-3PO will be there. Giancarlo Esposito, and quite a few more. So tons of stuff going on at Celebration, and lots of guests are going to show up.
Actually, did you guys talk about that documentary, that mini doc about the kid who almost played Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah. No, you know what? We haven't brought that up yet, but that's a funny video. We got to talk about that at some point.
I think what I love the most about Star Wars is definitely he wasn't even on screen, and they still managed to pump out like a 45-minute documentary about a guy who auditioned for the part of Anakin Skywalker.
That's so good. So much. It's so good.
Dude, there's so many good stories for Phantom Menace. Like same with Ahmed Best. Like he's got this story about on his way into the audition, he like passed Michael Jackson on the way out. Michael Jackson had done a take to play Jar Jar Binks. Is that bizarre?
That is the most bizarre thing ever.
Yeah, that's a real thing. And like, I think I heard this on Rebel Force Radio. They were talking about this, and they had some jokes. They did like a fake audio recording of it and stuff. It was pretty funny. But yeah, that was like a real thing. And George obviously didn't want him on the show because he was worried that Michael Jackson would then steal like the title position of the show, and people watch it for that reason.
Yeah.
So he wanted to cast someone obscure to be focused on the story.
Yeah, but not because he would,
right.
Just
not because
sound so absurd.
Not because Liam Neeson, Samuel Jackson, and everyone else in there. Like,
oh man, you know what we should do? Wow. I keep coming with all these great YouTube videos. I'm gonna have to edit them all. We should do a supercut of Phantom Menace with Michael Jackson voiceover lines over top of Jar Jar.
Oh man. That's a great idea. This is it.
Oh, wow. That's going to be something else.
That's going to be something special. So, yeah, I mean, Star Wars. I was talking about Star Wars month. Do you guys read any of the comics, any of the novels, any of that stuff?
Kind of. It's a big yes and no. I have my collection that I read quite religiously.
What do you typically read?
I have my omnibuses from Dark Horse that I bought like years and years ago. So I've got it's called The Other Sons of Tatooine. So it's like stories about like there's one about like Biggs, and there's one about Boshek. And
Boshek? Who's that?
Let me tell you about Boshek. He's at the bar when they go meet Han Solo in episode 4. That's his claim to fame.
That's that guy that Obi-Wan's talking to in the cantina, and then he looks awkwardly and moves out of the way so that Obi-Wan could talk to Chewbacca instead.
That very same one, the guy with the sideburns. The guy with the sideburns. And
I love that guy.
Like them or whatever.
It's exactly what I'm like. I was saying earlier. It's just like there's a background character. He needs to be fleshed out with his own comic book, and I love it so much. But
I love that they did that. It's like obscure guy who looks like he's in the way in the shot, like he wasn't supposed to be there, and then they get this huge background story on his comics and stuff. It's classic Star Wars, man.
Absolutely. Like, so Dark Horse, I feel like it's hit and miss. A lot of times the comics are actually like really, really like terrible. They're usually like really ugly, and the story kind of sucks. But you
got people out there going no.
no offense, but if they made better stuff, it wouldn't be that bad,
dude. But, Josh, you need to cue the Michael Scott Office meme where he's like, no. Please, God, no! No!
Cut him off. Don't let him talk about Dark Horse like this. And, but yeah, it's the story of Biggs Darklighter, in the Omni.
No, God, please, no, 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 no.
There you go.
So in this omnibus, it's actually like, first of all, the story is just amazing. It's like, even though Biggs is like, he's just the guy with the checker patterned helmet that dies. You know what I mean? But they explore his quote unquote backstory, and it's really, really good. And it's only like I don't know, probably like not even 40 pages, I guess. I don't know how to count, to be honest with you. But and it's really good. And I read all the time. Then I got the Boba Fett one, the Jodo cast.
Is that the one with the doppelganger?
Oh yeah, the Jodo cast one is so good. I love that one so much. And then I have another one. I think it's the one I enjoy the least, though. It's the,
Phil, you gotta tell me. here. Is there a Dash Rendar comic?
There is a Shadow of the Empire comic. I just don't
nice.
own it, unfortunately. I am on the lookout for this series. But yes, he does make an appearance in there's a Shadow of Empire spinoff.
Well,
but
speaking of the old Dark Horse stuff, have you been noticing they've been republishing a lot of all those Star Wars Legends Dark Horse stuff in these new Marvel labeled omnibuses?
No, actually, I haven't noticed that at all.
Yes, they've come out quite a few already, but there's one they're calling Empire Omnibus. Volume 1 launches on May 3rd, and then the new Star Wars Marvel series from 2015 has an omnibus coming out on May 10th. But keep an eye out for those. So Marvel's basically been taking all of what Dark Horse has done and publishing it with their own label, and they've just been kind of putting them out in these big, huge chunks. So like a bunch of series all in like one big book. And I don't know if they're sorting it in like any particular order, but they're sorting it into like an era, I guess, and putting it out there. So for anyone looking out to getting those older comics, like that's probably a good way to do it, because otherwise you just can't find them anymore, like all those individual ones. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's when I used to go to Portland and stuff like that, there was this nice comic shop in the Vancouver area. It's next to Portland, and I used to like scour that shop just to find any goodies that I could find for like Star Wars comics, and they were usually relatively cheap, which was awesome. But they come in various conditions. Let's just say, for how old they are.
Well, I know you've been waiting to enlighten us all on a particular character.
Oh my God.
So I'm gonna cue the Shadows of the Empire menu theme song here.
Gonna be honest, the only reason I'm at the podcast tonight was for this segment.
I don't have much to say, guys, except for Disney. If you're listening, you have the best character just waiting you're waiting there. Harrison Ford is too old. All right. You can't have Harrison Ford. You can't have, Han Solo coming back. You can't use... Every time you make Han Solo, it's never Harrison Ford. So why not just make Han Solo not Han Solo and make it like a gosh dang Dash Rendar movie? You know what I mean?
All right, so we keep hearing a lot about Dash Rendar. I mean, anyone who's been tuning into the podcast for ages has probably had enough of us talking about Dash Rendar with any context of other than what game he's from. So
who is
Phil? Exactly. Phil read in. Phil our listeners in. Who is Dash Rendar? Why should we care? And why should we want a movie about Dash Rendar? Go ahead. The mic is yours.
Do you guys love Han Solo? Well, I got a more handsome Han Solo for you. Drives a similar ship, but not quite the same. Has his own co-pilot, not a Wookiee, but a repair droid, is all I gotta say. And let me tell you, he's basically Han Solo, guys. It's just Han Solo, but like better looking, more rugged. He's awesome. He's got like the coolest outfit. He's got like this chest plate with like, I don't even know what I want to call those shoulder pads, but they're pretty sick looking. Yeah. All I could say, that's pretty much. He looks sick.
Sounds like he has Lando's taste in partners or whatever.
That's right.
Oh god.
He's definitely the rugged smuggler, and he did take down Prince Shizor, and possibly saved the entire
Sounds like a
galaxy.
very important.
For those wondering, Prince Caesar is the leader of the Black Sun crime syndicate. It's kind of like
okay.
the
I'm glad.
Huts.
I honestly thought it was like some dude in a bar or something like that. I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Just some random guy. He took down extra number 4. That's right.
And he calls himself
he
Prince.
shot first.
But actually, it's great that you mentioned the Black Sun Syndicate because, I mean, the Solo movie was pretty open-ended in introducing the Black Sun Crime Syndicate. So I am very hopeful for, you know, some kind of thing. Like they have the ability now.
The Pikes? That was the Pikes. I thought Solo they introduced the Pikes, not Black Sun.
Didn't they? I mean, I think we went through this, but isn't Darth Maul at this point in the storyline the leader of the Black Sun, or is it?
He was in Clone Wars.
Darth Maul. Yeah, Darth Maul, Black Sun. Yeah, briefly, Darth Maul led Black Sun, but then more recently in the canon, they did actually name drop Prince Shizor in canon in the.
It's official
in the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover. Yeah, so
Guys,
there you go.
Going crazy.
We're
also
getting closer to that.
Have you guys seen the Outrider, which is his ship?
I have, because Josh and we did a Star Wars role-playing game, and we used the Outrider as our ship. The YT 1300, or is it 2700? I always get the two. It's 27. It's
24.
So close. 2400.
That's right.
1300 is the Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon is an amazing, iconic ship. However, I would say the YT 2400 is better looking.
It's just sleeker and
the
faster.
asymmetry brings it up an extra notch. And so but I was saying, I think that when they kind of hinted at, you know, kind of the Black Sun and stuff like that in the Solo movie, I think there's potential for Dash Rendar to possibly make an appearance. I think the fan base and Disney itself has the need to introduce new characters that aren't, you know, that aren't part of like the the main 3 characters from the original movie.
Spread it out a little bit, right?
Spread it out, and you know what? He's already has his own little backstory, so it's an easy sell. You can probably.
And his ship is canon. It's in the background of A New Hope.
It is. It's leaving the port. And,
that's right. Mos Eisley.
Yeah. I think that like you could sell so many action figures again. Once like you can make a new line of Dash Rendar. I don't know. It's the smartest move. Guy's so handsome, so rugged.
Phil, would you say they should stick to the original storyline of the game though, or do you think they should try to go off somewhere else?
Where he just the original I'm not sure how it works with Boba Fett in that story, but he defeats Boba Fett pretty good in that game. So I'm not sure people are willing to see that. He kicks his butt pretty good.
Well, unfortunately, canon. With the current canon, everyone kicks Boba Fett's butt, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch.
Yeah, but have you ever seen a guy with a blaster, a jetpack, take down an entire Slave One spaceship? Like that happened in the game. You know what I mean?
Phil, I'm gonna give you a challenge here. Okay, you got 1 minute and 10 seconds to. Or should we make it 30 seconds? I don't know. I'm going to give you like a brief time here. You got to infomercial this idea to the board of Disney. All right. Say you're there. You bring the whiteboard. You bring the presentation, the projector, all that stuff. You kind of have to kickstart.
We got the breakdown of the characters. So like, what's our story? What story do we want this character to do?
Exactly. Pretend we're the board. Pretend our listeners are the board. You got to convince them on why this character matters. And why we should have a Dash Rendar movie, all right.
And how would have been a better choice than Solo?
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, the thing about Solo is that like it could have easily just been a Dash Rendar movie, just change the character's name, and cut out some of the Solo lore, like how he got his gun.
All right, sell us on it. All right, sell us on it, and go.
That's our bad salesman here. All right, Disney, listen up. I have this idea for a Dash Rendar movie. All right, it's about this smuggler for hire, and he's been getting kicked around by the Empire lately, and he's taken up this this contract for the Rebel Alliance, and while he's in this operation, things go sour, and he ends up having to actually join forces with the Rebel Alliance, who's contracted him. And you know what? He finds out that he does have a heart of gold indeed, and he ends up being a major component of the fleet. Yeah.
Isn't that the story of Han Solo?
It's the exact story of Han Solo.
But you're saying just take that story and spread it out and rename the character.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the ultimate plan. It's exactly like a major billion-dollar corporation to do something. Take something that already exists and lazily relabel it. But I think this one would work.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I can actually hear the pen of Bob JPEG writing this idea down.
Absolutely.
It's like, how have we not thought about this back in like 1997 or whatever this game came out?
I think overall, I don't know. I just thought he looked so cool when I was a kid, and I got so attached to him. And ever since then, I'm just like, you know what? I need to see this happen in real life. I need a live action movie.
Wait a second.
Well, what's funny is there's not a lot of smuggler-based games. It was one of the very few.
Yo, that's the game that we're talking about? I had no idea what game it was. I'm like, wait a second. Han Solo-esque character? Wasn't there a Nintendo 64 game kind of like that?
That's the one.
This is the one.
Phil, what did you think of that kid that showed up, or a young guy who showed up in Mandalorian? I think it was season 1, episode 6, and he was just known as the gunslinger. You know what I'm talking about?
You talking about the guy who stole Boba Fett's armor, basically?
He's the guy who...
No, that's the Marshal.
No, he's the guy who basically stole Dash Rendar's clothes.
The guns. Let me check this out.
Okay. Type it up. It's Mandalorian gunslinger, and I forget the guy's name now.
Chapter 5.
Yeah. So the story of that episode.
Oh, that guy. That guy that looks just like my friend.
Yeah, he stole Dash's jacket. Yeah, your friend Dash, you mean?
That's right, my friend Dash.
he stole his jacket. I mean, like
that's not quite Dash's jacket.
He's like he looks kind of like him. You know, he's got the same kind of vibes going on.
Wasn't this character revealed in the trailer, and we all assumed it was Dash Rendar?
Yeah,
that was probably a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people speculated it to be Dash Rendar, but no, I guess it's not exactly his jacket, I guess. But yeah, Dash Rendar has like a leather kind of brown cross stitch thing.
Episode
But
with this guy even about? I literally don't. It's been so long since I saw that. I don't even remember what he did.
Yeah, it's probably one of the least memorable episodes of the first season, and the first season was really, really good.
So in this episode, Mando, I think he's still hiding, and he shows up with I believe it's on Tatooine, and this punk kid approaches him and needs something from him, and the kid tells him if he helps him take out the bounty on Fennec, which is the first time we meet Fennec Shand, then he'll get whatever he wants. And so they go after Fennec, and then they capture her. And she convinces him to turn on Mando, and then he dies, and then Fennec is shot in the gut, but then is brought back to life by Boba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not. He wishes he was Dash Rendar. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
And this character, he actually flies a YT 2400. Can you believe that? It's crazy.
He has a droid companion that is his co-pilot.
That's right.
Can you believe that?
Oh man.
Overall, I feel like there's. I mean, Disney's sitting on so many characters in Star Wars that have like so much potential, but I really feel like if they love Han Solo that much that they're willing to do a half-ass movie about him, you know, they've got Han Solo, not even Han Solo light, it's Han Solo heavy. It's even better.
Well, what's funny is, it seemed like one of the main complaints online for the Solo movie was that they didn't see a point in watching a movie about Han Solo. So it's almost as if they had made a Dash Rendar movie, it could have done better. because
They
it's a
would've
new
done
character and everyone want to go see what it is.
I think.
I mean, that being said, if they stuck to the original plot, it'll probably have the same issue that people had with episode 7. It was like, oh, it's just the same story. But
yeah, I think
pick
overall,
a poison.
Overall, like it's probably the smallest hill I would die on. That movie should have been the Dash Rendar story. Like the main elements are there. You had the resources to do it. You didn't have to have a movie that kept showing Han Solo's dice like 7 times. I didn't need to see how he got his gun. This is just gonna become. I feel like every episode is just me complaining about the Solo movie.
Well, you really didn't like that movie.
It should have been Dash.
Okay. Why is it you didn't like that movie because you think it should have been a Dash Rendar movie, or did you not like the movie because you just didn't like the movie?
It's both. But I wish I could. I wish I could play it up to being like mostly Dash, but honestly, I just didn't like the movie. I thought it was terrible.
That's fair
enough.
They were good. Don't get me wrong. There's always like all the movies I don't like always have like really really good parts. But I don't know. I groaned a lot. I think after like the first 3 shots of the dice in the first 5 minutes, I kind of checked out by that point.
I gotta say, I think it'd be really hard to make a prequel movie on a character like Han Solo and not make it have a lot of groans.
Yeah.
The audience grown a lot.
Which is sad to say because he's a fan favorite character, and here we are all rejoicing about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But genuinely, I think that one's going to be a lot more interesting. As far as a prequel.
It's not an Obi-Wan origin story though. It's filling in a gap, right?
True.
So
I guess the prequels.
We're going to see infant Obi-Wan in like the nursery and how the Jedi kidnapped him, and we're not watching that.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't wait. Honestly, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I feel like they've shown that they've been recently, especially with their shows, they've been kind of hitting it really good.
Yeah, they've done way better with their shows on Disney Plus than they have been the movies. That's for sure.
Yeah, which is like, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like they don't have the time to nitpick every single detail.
It's Dave Filoni. That's my guess. Because the guy who spent all this time under George's apprenticeship, right? Yeah. And he was the guy who was in charge of Clone Wars. And so he's used to doing these big grand stories. And so he's the guy who's behind all these the live action series. And then Jon Favreau, who has the experience of directing stuff on set, the guy who directed the original Iron Man movie. It's those two together. So I feel like you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, they're really good.
That's my guess.
Did Rogue One was
Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards.
Was Gareth Edwards?
Gareth Edwards did Rogue One. He did Godzilla. He was
the guy that worked at ILM, right? Who's the guy that worked at ILM and wrote Rogue One?
Oh, he came up with the idea. That's the John Knoll.
John Knoll.
The head.
John Knoll. There we go.
Yeah, he's also the guy. Him and his brother invented Photoshop.
That's right. That's
oh wow.
That's the guy.
He set the bar for life accomplishments.
Invented Photoshop, wrote a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And head of Industrial Light and Magic.
Such a normal guy, too.
Deal.
No big deal.
Not a big deal.
Any last things you guys want to bring up for Star Wars Day? Anything else? Dash Rendar, whatever else. Closing statements.
Go on petition.org and ask Disney to make a Dash Rendar televised or movie product in live action, please, and make sure the actor is super handsome.
Got to we'll hashtag it out on Twitter. Hashtag Where's Dash.
So
send it to Disney.
I think it's important for me to mention too that Shadows of the Empire is 65% off.
65% off. You hear that, everyone?
It's
Steam
went from on Steam. Yeah, it's I just bought it right now while we were having this conversation.
There you go.
Oh wow! Look at that sales pitch worked.
$6.
Where's my commission, Valve?
$2.30. Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it too.
Josh. Sponsorships work.
That's how it works. We need the commission. Blake, any last minute things?
I'm declaring it here. I vow by the end of May 4th, I will have taken down at least one AT-AT in Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Good luck. Because you know what's great? You know what's great is that's not the only mission where you have to take down.
I know. I googled it. I looked up tips, and they show up 3 times. And the first time, after I take down the first one, which I have yet to do, there's another one in the same level.
Yeah, I beat the first one. I haven't beaten the second one though, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Good luck.
All right, everybody. Wish George Lucas a thank you on your tweets by using hashtag May the 4th be with you, and we hope all of you guys have a great Star Wars day. Isn't that right? And thank you, Reed, Phil, and of course Blake for joining us back on the podcast, back on the Escape Pod, for this very special May 4th exclusive and multiple sales pitch episode. And thank you, Phil, for that amazing monologue for Dash Rendar. We're all looking forward to the movie.
I should have written something beforehand.
I'm sold, man. You got my
you know
vote.
what? Reed, there's a special ending. There's a special ending for the PC version of the game, so you're in for a treat.
Oh,
if you
beautiful.
finish it, that is.
If I finish it, I remember it being incredibly hard. So.
It's kind of sluggish.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
See ya.
Keep flying.
All right, and we thank you to our listeners for tuning in. May the 4th, you're wondering what to do. Well, celebrate Star Wars with your friends, with your family, whatever you got going on. Throw a Star Wars movie on, or hey, play Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. That's been a great game. I've been having fun with that. Blake and I have been playing bits and pieces here and there and trying to get through the game, and it's been awesome. So do your Star Wars shopping, get in on those Star Wars merchandise deals, and prepare yourself for celebration around the corner. 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, and we'll see you in the next episode.